Hey everyone, my name is Anne and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make this really pretty sunflower sweater. I'll be making a small here, but sizes X small to 3X large are included in this tutorial and also in the written pattern that I have linked down below. But here are all of the supplies you're going to be needing. So here are all of the supplies that you're going to be needing for this project. Over here I have a category for yarn. I'm using the I Love This yarn in the color Soft Blue. You also want to grab some scissors, as well as a 5.5mm hook and a 4.5mm hook. Then you'll also need any kind of large tapestry needle for sewing in our ends. So that is all you're going to need. Let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to first start off with a chain of 80. I'm first just going to make a slip knot, and then you can do that any way you would like. After this slip knot, once again I said we're going to make a chain of 80. To make a chain, all you want to do is just yarn over with your hook and then pull through. Again, yarn over with your hook and then just pull through, and keep on doing this until you have a total of 80 chains. So once you have finished your chain of 80, we're now just going to slide our fingers all the way down our chain, making sure that it is not twisted. And then once you reach the bottom, I'm almost there, we're just going to take our hook and then we're going to slip stitch into the first chain. To do that, I'm just going to insert my hook into that very first chain. And then you just want to yarn over and then pull through both of those loops. And that should form a large circle. This is going to be our head hole. So now moving on to row 1, I'm first going to chain 2. And this chain 2 does count as our first stitch. So now beginning into the second chain, because this first chain counts as our first stitch, we're going to make 11 double crochets across. To make a double crochet, you just want to yarn over, insert your hook into that second chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we have 2 double crochets. Doing that again, you just want to yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. And then now just keep going until you have 11 double crochets in total. So once you have worked your 11 chains into the next chain, we are now going to work our very first corner. To work a corner, we're going to double crochet. Then from here, we're going to do a chain of 2. So here's 1, 2, and then now into the same chain, we will work 1 more double crochet, just like this. So now that is going to be our first corner, and we have 4 corners to do. So from here, we're now going to work 16 more double crochets. So starting in here, we're just going to work 16 more. And once you have finished working at 16 more double crochets, we will do our second corner. So once again, into this next chain, I'm going to double crochet, then chain 2, and then double crochet, just like this. So this is what our work is looking like so far. Now from here, we are going to continue on to work 22 double crochets coming across here. So 22 double crochets later, we are going to now work our third corner. So I'm just going to double crochet, chain 2, then double crochet. So from here, we are going to do another 16 double crochets. And so I just finished up working those 16 more double crochets. Now we're going to work our fourth and our last corner. And now from here, you should have 11 chains at the end of your row remaining. And once you've finished working those last 11 double crochets, to join each round, we are going to slip stitch into the top chain or the second chain that we made. I'm just going to insert my hook, then just pull through both of those loops. Now we can just chain 2 and turn our work. Once again, that chain 2 does count as our first stitch, and so this is what our work is looking like. So we have these 4 corners, and then now we're going to continue doing increases for the rest of the rows. So beginning on row 1, we're going to skip this first stitch and insert our hook into the second stitch. We will work double crochets, and you want to do this until you have reached this very first corner. And once you have reached this very first corner, we are literally going to do the same thing that we did for row 1. So we're going to double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet, just like this. Then we're just going to turn our work more double crochets until we reach the second corner. Then I'm going to show you guys how to do that again. And so once you reach this next point, we are going to do the same thing. We're going to double crochet, chain 2, and then double crochet into that chain 2 space. And then now, since I've already showed you guys how to do this twice, I'm just going to double crochet, then work that corner, double crochet, work that corner, and then I'm going to continue on double crocheting, and then I'll see you guys back once I reach the end. And so I have made it back here, working all the way around, doing these 4 corners, and then I have made it to the end of my work. Just as we did previously, we're just going to slip stitch into this first chain, or into that second chain, chain 2, and turn. To continue this pattern, you just want to repeat this round, which is round 2, until you have a total of 16 rounds in total. You should be increasing by 8 stitch every single round, but basically all you want to do is just double crochet, work those 2 double crochets, double crochet, 2 double crochets, and then just keep on doing that all the way around. And then again, you should be increasing by 8 stitches every single round, so it should be getting larger and larger and larger. So I'm going to go ahead, work up my 16 rounds, and then I'll see you guys back once I am all done. So this is what your sweater should be looking like after 16 rows. You should have increased by 8 stitches every single row. Now this is what our sweater looks like so far. So from here, we are now going to move on to working the body portion, because these sections are going to become our sleeves, and then we're going to continue on working downwards with our body. So that is going to be the next section of this video, so let's go ahead and get started on those steps. So getting us started on the body portion of our sweater, we're basically going to be connecting these 2 corners, because this is going to be our sleeve, this is going to be our second sleeve, and then we're going to work our body coming this way. So for the first row for our body, we're going to work double crochets, and then once we reach this corner piece, these two corners, I'm going to show you guys how to connect that. We're going to come all the way around here, do that same thing, just connecting these two corners, and then we're going to meet all the way back up until the center. So to get started with this, I'm just going to do our usual chain 2, and then beginning into the second stitch, we will work those double crochets, and as I said, I'm going to see you guys back once I have reached our first corner. So once you have reached these two pieces, we're just going to slip stitch them together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my hook into that corner, then into the next corner, then we're just going to yarn over, and then we're going to pull through everything just like this. And now I'm just going to turn my work just so that it's easier to see. And so beginning into this very first stitch, we are going to double crochet all the way along the back panel until we have met up with these next two corners. So I have made it back here working at these double crochets coming all the way across, and now we're just going to do the same exact thing. We're going to pinch our two corners together and we're going to slip stitch. So I'm just going to insert my hook, then into the next one, yarn over, pull through everything just like this, and then now we're just going to continue these double crochets until the end of our row. And so I'm just going to go ahead and slip stitch into this top chain as usual. Chain 2 and turn my work. So to continue this pattern for our body portion, you just want to repeat doing regular double crochet rounds. So literally nothing fancy at all. You just want to repeat working double crochets into each stitch all the way around, doing nothing fancy, working no corners at all. Then just slip stitch into that top chain, chain 2 and turn. Just keep on doing those regular double crochet rounds until you have reached the length of the sweater that you like. You can make this however long you would like. I'm actually not sure how long I want this to be, so I'm going to put that on screen and then I'm going to mention it in the next clip. But I'm going to go ahead, work up my double crochets, and then I'm going to see you guys back once I am all done. So I have just made it back here with my sweater. I completed 14 rows in total, but as I mentioned, you can make this however long you would like. So what we did is that we did 16 rows working these corners, and then we did 14 rows for our body. Then once I reached the end, I did cut and fasten off. And now that we are all done with our main bodice section, we're now going to move on to working the sleeves over here. So let's go ahead and get started on that. So now we're going to get started on working our sleeve. This is an optional step if you just want to stop here and just have short sleeves for your sweater. I think that would look really cute as well. But I'm going to be making a full length sleeve. And to do that, I'm first just going to make a slip knot with my 5.5mm hook. And then I'm just going to insert my hook into this bottom stitch. So just insert your hook and then just yarn over and pull through everything. Just like this. So now beginning on row 1, I'm first going to chain 2, which does count as our first stitch. And beginning into the second stitch, we will work double crochets coming up and all the way around until we have reached the opposite side. So just beginning into the second stitch, I'm just going to work these regular double crochets, and then I'll see you guys back once I have reached the end to join. So once you have made it all the way around with your double crochets, we are now just going to join this first row by slip stitching into this top chain. So here is my top chain, or the second chain that I made. I'm just going to slip stitch, chain 2, and then turn. Now we're going to begin on working row 2. This row we are going to start off with a double crochet decrease. To work a double crochet decrease, beginning into the second stitch, we will going to yarn over, insert your hook into that second stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Then now we're going to yarn over again, insert your hook into the next stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over, pull through 3, and that's how we're going to be doing our decreases for this pattern. So from here, you just want to continue on double crocheting into each stitch all the way around once again until you have 2 stitches at the end remaining. Into those last 2 stitches, I'm going to show you guys how to do another double crochet decrease. So I just finished working all the way around with these double crochets until I had 2 stitches at the end of my round remaining. And so this last 2 stitches, we're going to work the same kind of double crochet decrease. To do that, once again, you just want to yarn over, insert your hook into that second to last stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over again, insert your hook into that last stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, then yarn over, pull through 3, just like this. Now I'm just going to slip stitch into that first stitch, chain 2, and turn my work. So to continue this pattern for our sleeve, all you want to do is just repeat round 1 and round 2 until you have a total of 25 rows. However, you can make this however long you would like. But basically all you should be doing is just working 1 regular double crochet row and then a decrease row, a regular double crochet row and then a regular and then a decrease row. Keep on doing that until you have your desired length, and then I'm going to work that up and I'll see you guys back once I am all done. Alright guys, so I have made it back here with my sleeve. I have 25 rows in total and I decreased every other row. Once I made it to the end, I did go ahead, cut and fasten off as usual. And once you have finished one sleeve, you do want to repeat this same exact process for the other sleeve as well, as I've already done over here. So once we have both of our sleeves all done, we're now going to move on to working the collar and the cuffs and the bottom border. So let's go ahead and get started on those steps. So now we're going to be moving on to working the bottom border for our sweater. I have changed out my 5.5mm hook for a 4.5mm hook. Then we're just going to make a slip knot. And then now we're going to insert our hook into the seam here. You can insert it anywhere, but I'm going to insert it on the seam. I'm just going to insert my hook. And then slip stitch to secure, so I'm just going to yarn over and pull through everything. Just like this. Now from here, I'm going to make a chain of 8, so that you can make this however long you would like. But I'm going to make a chain of 8. So once you have finished working your chain of 8, beginning on row 1, beginning into the second chain, we are going to single crochet into each chain all the way across. To work a single crochet, you just want to insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. That is our first single crochet. Then just keep on single crocheting into each of these chains. You should have 7 in total. So when you finished up working these single crochets, we're now going to attach this border. To do that, you just want to slip stitch up 2 on the side. So into this very first stitch, I will work 1 slip stitch. Then I'm going to slip stitch again, just like this, so I should have connected that border, as you guys can see. I'm just going to turn my work. And now these 2 slip stitches that we did basically count as our 2 turning chains, and that'll not count as a stitch. So beginning into this first stitch, we're going to now work back bar our back loop single crochets. To work a back bar, a back loop single crochet, instead of inserting your hook into both of these loops, as you normally would like this, we're only going to insert our hook into this back loop, yarn over, pulled through, yarn over, pulled through 2. Doing this again, instead of inserting your hook into both of these loops as you normally would, we are only going to insert our hook into that back loop or back bar, and then just work that single crochet as you normally would. Then you just want to work this stitch until you have one stitch at the end remaining, which I am almost there. And into this very last stitch, we are going to work one regular single crochet. Just like this, chain 1 and turn your work. This chain 1 does not count as a stitch for the rest of the pattern. Moving on to row 3, into this first stitch, or skipping this first chain, we will work one regular single crochet. And then from here, you want to work back bar or back loop single crochets into each of the stitches. Once you reach the end of your work, we're going to once again slip stitch up 2 on the side. So here's the first stitch, and here's the second slip stitch, and then just turn your work, and that should have connected this row again. So now to continue this pattern, you just want to repeat those last 2 rows, which is row 2 and row 3 with these back bar single crochets until you have worked all the way around the bottom edge of your border. But I'm just going to work 2 more rows with you guys just so you really understand. So once again, into this first stitch, I will work back bar or back loop single crochets. And then into the very last stitch, we're going to work one regular single crochet. Chain 1 and turn. That chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Moving on to the next row, you want to work one single crochet. And then into the next 6 stitches until the end of your work, work those back bar single crochets as you normally would. And then once you reach the end, we're going to slip stitch up 2 on the side, and then just turn your work just like this. So I'm going to continue on repeating row 2 and row 3, and then I'm going to see you guys back once I am all done. So I have made it back here, and I just finished repeating row 2 and row 3 all the way around this bottom edge, as you guys can see. So once you have made it to the end, you can go ahead, cut and fasten off. The next thing that we're going to do is just connect these 2 pieces together. So I have a large tapestry needle, and I'm just going to weave it through. And so now we're just going to whip stitch into each stitch all the way down our border to connect these 2 edges. To do that, I'm just going to take my needle, and I'm just going to insert it into the back loop of this first stitch, and then into the back loop of the next stitch, and then just pull through. Doing this again, I'm going to come back around and insert my needle into the back loop, and then into the second back loop, and then just pull straight through into the back loop, into the next back loop. Just like this. And then once you reach the end of this border, you can just weave in your ends as you normally would. But this is what our finished border looks like after we have sewed in everything. So once we have finished with our bottom border, you just want to repeat this same thing that we did for the bottom border, and you want to do that for both of your cuffs, and then you want to do that for your collar as well. So just to repeat what we did, we just inserted our 4.5mm hook, chained 8, and then we worked those back bar double crochets or back bar single crochets, and then you want to work that all the way around until the end of your work. And then you want to do that for the same thing for the cuffs, just working those back bar double crochets into each stitch all the way around, making sure to slip stitch up 2 on the side to join each row. Since I have already showed this on camera, I'm going to go ahead and work up my collar and both of my cuffs. And then I'm going to see you guys back for the next steps. So I have now finished up working my collar and both of my cuffs. This is what my two cuffs are looking like. And now that we are all done with the cuffs, the collar, and the bottom border, we're now going to go ahead and get started on working the flowers, which is an optional section of this video. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started on working the flowers. So to get started on working one of these cute little flowers, over here I have my yellow yarn this time, and I'm going to be using my 4.5mm hook. We're going to first start off with a slip knot as usual. Now from here we're going to make a chain of 2. So this is 1, and then once we have finished our chain of 2, we're going to slip stitch into the first chain. So here's the first chain, I'm just going to slip stitch into it. And that should form a little circle that we're going to work into. So from here you just want to chain 1. Now into the center of the circle we are going to work 10 single crochets. So I'm just going to insert my hook into the middle, pull through 2. That's 1. Now I have 9 more to go, so here's 2. It's a little bit difficult. So once you have finished working at these 10 single crochets, I'm just going to pull my tail just to tighten this up. Now we're going to slip stitch into the first stitch to join this row, except when we slip stitch we are also going to change our color to the white yarn. So to do that I'm just going to insert my hook into that first stitch. And then you want to grab your white yarn, just like this, put it over your hook, and then just pull through all 3 of these loops to change color. There we go. Then you can just chain 1 and turn. Well, you don't have to turn actually. Beginning on row 2, into this very first stitch we will work 1 single crochet. Now into the next stitch we will work 5 double crochets. So into this next stitch I'm going to work 1, 2, 3, 4, then here's 5. There we go, just like this, and that's going to be our first petal. Now into the next stitch, single crochet. There we go, that's going to finish off our first petal. Now into the next stitch, you want to once again work 5 double crochets. Once you have worked these 5 double crochets, we are going to once again single crochet into the next stitch. So now you just want to repeat working 1 single crochet and then 5 double crochets into each stitch all the way around. You should have 5 petals once you reach the end of your work. So once you have finished working into each stitch all the way around, you just want to slip stitch into this first stitch to join. So right here, just slip stitch, and then from here you can just go ahead and cut and fasten off, and then this is what your flower should be looking like. So now you can make as many number of flowers that you want. I'm actually not sure how many I'm going to do yet. I'm going to let you guys know in the next clip once I have attached them to my sweater. But I'm just going to go ahead and make all of my flowers, and then I'm going to see you guys back once I am all done. So I have went ahead and made a few of my flowers, and I just wanted to jump in here and show you guys how we're going to be attaching the flowers to our sweater. So over here I have my tapestry needle. I'm just going to zoom in. And what we're going to do here is that I'm going to insert my tapestry needle into the first stitch, and then into the stitch from the sweater, and then just pull straight through. And then we're just going to keep on sewing all the way around until the end. So I'm just going to come back into the next stitch, just like this, and then pull through. Then we're going to do the same thing again. I'm going to go into the next stitch, pick up a loop, and then pull through, come back around, pick up the next loop, there we go, tighten that up, come here, and then just keep on sewing all the way around your flower. And so I just finished working all the way around my flower until I reached the end of my work. This is what it should look like. So now I'm going to go ahead, place all of my flowers down, and then I'm going to see you guys back once I am all done. So I have just finished up working all of my flowers and attaching them to my sweater. I ended up having 19 flowers in total, but again, you can make any amount that you would like. When you have finished up working all of your flowers, that is basically the end of this tutorial. The last thing you would need to do is just weave in all of your loose ends. But that is all, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I hope to see you guys back next time. Bye! If you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to this channel. If you bought this pattern, it would be super helpful if you left a positive review. But that is all, guys. Bye!